Well, in the last class, we had started with Unit 3, fermenter design and components. We had studied that there are two types of fermentation process, submerged and solid state. Unit 3 deals mostly with submerged fermentation, and we have also seen the properties of a good fermenter. Various criteria I have explained to you, which will define a good fermenter. So in continuation to that, in today's class, in today's PPT class, we will see about different shapes of fermenters. Based on the need, the shape of fermenter will be different. All the industry do not use the same shape of fermenters. You can see in the diagram in this particular slide, there are different shapes of fermenters. Basically, we call it as the A, what is labeled there, it's called as barrel type of fermenter. B is called as vat type of fermenter. C is called cylindro-conical fermenter. And D, two types are D is there. They are also called as cylindrical fermenter. And E is called as spherico-conical fermenter. So, fermenter is designed based on the need of the microorganism. So for example, yeast, you are growing yeast in the lab. Usually yeast, what it will do is, after a few days it will settle down to form pellets. It will settle down at the bottom. For that we have, can you see the C, image C, cylindro-conical. At the bottom it is conical. Why? Because yeast will come and settle down at the bottom of the fermenter. So that if you open the drain outside, only the yeast will get separated from the fermenter. So fermenter is designed based on the need of the organism. And one more diagram is there towards the right hand side. You can see we call it as tower fermenter. This is used to grow aerobic highly aerobic organisms. We use such type of fermenters. So basically you can there are many other shapes of fermenters. All the different shapes of fermenters are designed based on the need for the microorganism. Now this is the typical fermenter. What you can see is a typical fermenter. See, the fermenter is just a vessel. It is just a vessel made up of different materials. You can see in the diagram, in this there is a fermenter vessel, but vessel as such you cannot see. There are so many pipelines connecting to the vessel. See, in fermentation as such has to happen under optimum condition. For that, so many connections are required to monitor the fermenter. So whatever diagram you are seeing, we call it as a typical fermenter. Fermenter is not a single vessel. Though it is a single vessel, it will have so many connections connected to it in the form of different pipelines. Every connection is very important, which is used to monitor the fermenter. One thing you have to understand, a fermenter is a vessel wherein fermentation will happen for a stipulated time. The stipulated time may be 2 to 3 days for bacteria, or 5 to 6 days for fungi. During the stipulated time, optimum conditions have to be maintained. For this reason, a fermenter will be the structure looks complicated, and it is interconnected, and it is connected by so many pipelines. Just in the diagram you can see that inside the fermenter, one tube from the top, one motor is there. In the diagram you can see in the middle of the fermenter, from the top one motor is there. That motor is like our electricity supply, and when you switch it on, from there one a pipe will go inside the vessel. To the pipe, blades are connected. It is like our fan. When like our fan which supplies air to us, inside the fermenter blades are there. These blades will rotate like our fan. The purpose is mixing of medium. So in such huge fermenters, media has to be mixed. For that we have those structures. And below bottom you can see in the fermenter there is one plate, like perforated plates with lots of perforated holes you can see, which is in turn connected to a pipe. That pipe is connected to air filter, and if through that air will be supplied into the medium. So from the top mixing will happen, from the bottom air will be supplied. So these blades, when they rotate, they will mix the oxygen which is bubbling in, which will get bubbled inside the medium. So these are two important structures of a fermenter. Apart from that, you can see in the fermenter, outside the fermenter there is one coating. We call it as the heating cooling jacket of fermenter, which is on the outer wall of the fermenter. You can see that is called heating cooling jacket. One end you can see, left hand side, bottom you can see cool water will enter inside, The right hand side of the wall, you can see the water is coming out. So this is water circulation to keep the fermenter cool. And apart from that, in the diagram you can see so many pipelines. So one towards the left hand side top corner, you can see steam coming entering inside the fermenter in the form of a pipe. It is for heating purpose, to autoclave the vessel. We call it a sterilization purpose steam. And uh, to left hand side, you can see so many other pipelines entering inside, one for steam, one to collect samples, one to and you can see now and then there are some sampling ports are there, which will help us in recording temperature, recording pH. And right hand side top corner, you can see there is a pressure indicator, and there are pumps to supply acid base, that is to maintain the pH. Whenever the pH increases in the medium, acid will be added into the vessel. Whenever pH decreases in the medium, alkali will be added into the vessel. So overall put together, you can see that a fermenter looks very complicated in structure, with so many connections connected to the fermenter, which help us in controlling the pH, temperature, to mix the medium, to aerify the process, to sterilize the vessel. And we are using so many things to autoclave the media components, and sampling ports. And you can also see at the bottom there is harvest line at the bottom of the fermenter. One pipeline goes down, it is for harvest, that is downstream processing. As we know, fermenter contains two steps, upstream and downstream. For downstream we use that. So this is a structure of a typical fermenter. In this particular topic, we are going to study the fermenter in detail. About each and every aspect we are going to study in detail further. So this is a typical fermenter. And in this table, you can see it's the table shows you two columns. The first column is what is the uh, what particular component is connected to the fermenter, and second column tells you why that particular component is connected to the fermenter. Just if it is visible to you clearly, you can just see the most important things are given in the top, that is impellers. Impeller is a component which is entering into the fermenter. It is also called as agitator. Its purpose is continuous mixing of medium, continuous stirring of medium. It helps in distribution of oxygen throughout the system, and it prevents cells from settling down. So we call it as the most important part of the fermenter. We call it as impeller. Next thing, second point, you can see it is sparger, also called as aerator. It is used to supply air or oxygen into the medium. For aerobic organism especially, this is very very important. Pure oxygen has to be supplied, that is air which is filtered has to be supplied. Third important thing is baffles. So baffles, just I will go back and show you. Baffle is present inside the vessel. It is just like breaking the flow, we call it as. Whenever you mix the medium, the media will keep on moving inside. Just to break the flow, we will use something called baffle, which I will be explaining to you in detail later. Types of baffles are there, which we will be seeing later. So first three, impeller, sparger, and baffles, are the most important components of fermenter. Next thing is temperature probe. You can see in the fermenter, at many places they would have kept this temperature probe. See, fermenters are very huge, large scale fermentation. Probe will not be present only in one corner of the fermenter. From many point in the fermenter, samples will be, thermometer will be kept just to check the temperature. So we call it as temperature probe, we call it as. The purpose is written there, to measure and monitor temperature change in the medium during the fermentation process. So not only one probe they will not use, they will use many probes at different places in connected to the fermenter. Next is cooling jacket. As I told you, microorganisms produce heat. To cool the fermenter, we use cooling jacket. It is just present on the wall of the fermenter. pH probe, another important component control system is pH. So microorganism keeps on producing products, and because of that the pH of the media constantly keeps changing. To maintain optimum pH, we should have a pH probe. And next thing you can see a level probe. It will measure the level of the medium. So most of the time we will have continuous fermentation. That means media will be entering inside from one end, from another end media will be going out. This is called as continuous fermentation. So inside the vessel we will not be knowing how much media is there. So there is a probe which will measure the level of the medium. Next, foam probe is there. As I told you, when you mix the medium, foam will be produced. This foam will what it will obstruct the oxygen entry into the medium. So this foam has to be broken. So there is one probe to find out how much foam accumulates in the medium. Then apart from that, you can see there is acid and base containers will be there, and the function of them is they will have acid and base as such. Whenever pH changes, the probe will be connected to the acid container, and acid will flow into the medium, weak acid. Similarly, a weak base will be there. So you can see the function of acid and base is to neutralize the environment and maintain the pH. Next is anti-foam agent also is there. When foam is more, how to break the foam? We have anti-foam agent. That one container will be connected. Then sampling port. Sampling port is just to see the load of microorganism. What is the load of organism? Every 1 hour once sample has to be collected, and you have to see whether microorganism is growing or not. That we will assess using sampling port. The next is a few more components I wanted to highlight to you. One is control panel. Most important thing, it will monitor all the parameters in the system. Nowadays automated fermenters are people are using automated fermenters, wherein there is a control panel that will monitor the entire fermenter whether it is working properly or not. It is system controlled. Software will be used for that purpose. And exhaust air filter and inlet air filter will be there to see that pure filtered air goes inside. Rotameter to control the flow rate of the liquid, and oxygen probe will be there to see how much oxygen, because when oxygen reduces, microorganism may die. So how much oxygen is present? When it is less, you have to supply more oxygen. When more oxygen is there, you can reduce the flow. So oxygen probe will be there, and pressure gauge will be there to see the internal pressure of the fermenter. So all these are components of fermenter. Next, fermenter, how does it look? There are two types of fermenters: glass fermenter and stainless steel fermenters. So basically every industry will use either glass or stainless steel. Olden days, 80-90 years before, people used to use wooden fermenters and rock fermenters made up of rock or wood. But nowadays they don't use wood or rock, they use glass or stainless steel. Glass is small scale. Whenever you do small scale fermentation, people use glass fermenter, and whenever you do large scale fermentation, people prefer stainless steel vessel. Whether you use glass or steel, very important thing is you have to it should be able to withstand pressure, and it should have the ability to withstand corrosion. Some people use combination of both glass and steel vessels also. We prefer steel or stainless steel is, in the medium acid will be liberated, alkali will be liberated, gases will be liberated, salt will be there, halogens like chlorine and seawater. So many things will come in contact with the vessel. They should not corrode the vessel. And mostly when we are using stainless steel vessels, we prefer using this combination. What is given below, you can see the vessel will be having 18% chromium, 10% nickel, 2.5% molybdenum, and traces of tungsten and silicon will be used to make the vessels. This percentage what I have given will change based on your need. For example, you are working with citric acid producing organism, that time molybdenum concentration will increase from 2.5 to 5%. So whatever I have given here is for a typical fermenter, this much percentage of component should be. Chromium will help in avoiding corrosion. Nickel will help us in construction of vessel to make it circular or to make it cylindrical. Nickel will help us to work with the fermenter. And basically fermenters, seals are very important. Seal is whenever you want to take sample, some seals will be there. Seal is used to seal the vessel from outside. So seals are used for connecting the lid of the fermenter with the body of the fermenter. The base of the fermenter will be connected to body with the help of seal. So sealing material also is important. So what I have told you here is the body construction of a vessel. With this we will complete this particular PPT. In the next PPT we will study the further topics.